Hey, Planeswalkers, hope you're doing well and staying safe. Welcome, my friends, to one of my favorites here on the channel, our weekly series for Friday Night Meta with yours truly, MetaMaster Mythras. We're doing things a little bit different here today, so excited about this. A little bit more short, a little bit more sweet and to the point. And additionally, on top of that, I'm going to give you some historic action just because of all the Jumpstart stuff that's been going on and because we just did the recent tier list. So with that, Planeswalkers, appreciate you tuning in. Flip me a like if you enjoyed today's video. On top of that, if you got questions, if you got comments, let me know down below. Would love to hear from you, or feel free to hop in that Discord server, my friends. Today, I will not have a unfortunate article on top of this. Got a lot going on in the household, so partly because of my crazy schedule right now and everything with that. So, however, you can find the timestamps in the description as well, where we will break down the best of one, we'll break down the best of three, we'll go do Saturn 2022, and as that goodie, we'll give you historic as well today, both best of one and best of three, and then last but not least, we'll take a look at some of the events and where things are going from here with Magic, my friends. So again, appreciate you tuning in. Appreciate your support as always. Great ways to stay connected on the channel. We got a ton of stuff here for you. Additionally, great benefits to you as well in the YouTube memberships and Patron stuff, and just on the channel. So check it out, stay in touch, and we're off with our data point of view here today. So first off, we are hot out of the gates into our first new week and new season here of Arena, getting ready for Innistrad, and from a historic perspective, Jumpstart as well. So this is what we have going on right now in the best of one meta. This is the full gambit. We'll drill into more competitive and into each of the tiers here, but what we are seeing is mono red's really strong out of the gates. We see Naya Winata falling off, and then Boros Winata becoming very strong here. So very cool to see mono red really tick up, or if you're not a mono red fan, then not very cool. But a little bit of displacement in the Winata decks. We see Dimmer Rogues doing really well in terms of the win rate. We see cycling here, Salty Ultimate, Mono Green Stoppy's really fallen. But again, we see this shift out of the gates. Where a lot of people are playing mono red. Makes sense why mono white's also doing well in the space in terms of win rates, just because they want to get to that mythic fast. As we get to the higher competitive scenes here, when we get to platinum, we still see a similar structure, as well as here the Naya Winata deck list was at the top and then has dissipated over time. Again, the Boros Winata creeping up, and then everything else in terms of win rates kind of really falling off. Now, this is more of that compression out of the gates, of course, that we see happens as well. Additionally, one of the reasons why I didn't cover this last week, which I probably should have started at the beginning, was because a lot of these trackers got screwed up with Jumpstart release as well. So that's a big key piece here to consider and remember. So let's pull this out. We'll go all the way down here quickly so you can see these snapshots and see what's different depending on where you're at and where you played today in the meta. We're working our way into the more competitive scene. So again, that Boros Winata getting there. When we get directly to platinum, again, Boros Winata still at the top of the list there in terms of win rate. As we get to the more competitive scene, again, mono white life gain doing well, Dimmer Rogues, Dimmer Mill in that space as well, very high there. Something to keep in mind. And then mythic, just not enough data yet, so makes sense. So let's go ahead, we'll take a look at best of three now. That is the best of one here in the space. Teamer Adventure, one of my favorite decks, one that I enjoy playing as well, doing the best right now out of the gates. Gruul Adventure doing well, Mono Green Stompy still doing well, Naya Winata in the middle of the pack, and then everything else here between Dimmer Rogues and Dimmer Control. Naya Winata being the most popular, Salty Ultimatum right up there, and then Gruul Adventure. So we see a huge change here as we have been watching in July, and as things kind of fell off, really leveling off here as we kick off in the season. And then again, we see the similar on the win rates, probably dealing with some of those data issues like we talked about right out of the gate. Here we go in the more competitive scene. Teamer Adventure still doing well. Jeskai Mutate popping back in here, so that's pretty important to see and keep an eye on. So as we drill in, again, typically we don't see a lot of this stuff here but I always like to check just in case, particularly for those of you that are really kind of more of the true Magic fans and only like playing best of 3. There we go for gold. We begin to see that Gruul Adventure, mono green, dimmer rogues. Platinum, we got Gruul Adventure, mono white aggro, and Ionata, dimmer control. As we move up into diamond, we see the Teamer Adventure. I was going to say, waiting for when that's going to pop back in here. Mono green Stompy doing really well there as well. And then last but not least, as we make our way into mythic, not really any data as well. So still trying to work that way in there. Most of you, as we like to say, to get to that spot. So that is standard best of 3. Now we're going to go take a look at standard 2022 here. So we'll do that. And take a quick look. So here's what's going on in standard 2022 at aggregate. We got mono white aggro, Orzhov Angels, Simic Ramp, mono red goblins. We can see some of those trends and things happening there as well. We got mono green Stompy, Orzhov Control, Is It Dragons, Rakdos Treasures further down the list. Then as we get a little bit more aggressive and we get to the competitive end, we see Bant Party up there, we see Simic Ramp as well, and then some of our other ones from before as well. Mono white aggro certainly being the #1 played and the highest win rate here at the competitive side. But let's go ahead. This is a best of 1 format, so we can go ahead and look at some of these other things here. So that as you're kind of working your way currently in the tier list, you have a good idea of what you might be running up against and hitting in this space. So as we begin to make it to the more competitive side, we begin to see that Bant Party, Simic Ramp, Orzhov Angels in there. Is It Dragons? And let's get to mythic and see if there's anything in that space. Not really. So again, people still making their way. It's fairly early out of the gates and been pretty crazy too with a lot of the downtime. So that makes a lot of sense. So that is standard 2022 now. Last but not least, let's go ahead and we're going to take a look at our historic. But before we do so, I need to take a break, let the talk and get the juices flowing again. But anyway, on top of that, great ways, obviously, like I said, stay connected, support the channel, but you could always get merch. We got a lot of cool stuff there for you and swag that you can find down below. But okay, historic. So best of 1, let's start with this. Lots of changes here. So we see Tybalt's Trickery. We just covered that. Again, everyone's saying automatic wins, barely above 50%. Keep that in mind, my friends. I was talking about that early out of the gate. Again, we see a couple different flavors here, 4-color, 5-color off the bat. So consistency is going to win. Mono green elves is still rocking it. So Trickery is high on the list in terms of percent played here. But again, something to keep in mind. Gruul Shamans, we got Selesnya Squirrel Twin, a host of other things popping up here in best of 1, which I love. And again, this is at aggregate. We can see these win rates being fairly steady as well. So this is a cool off the bat snapshot. We haven't done historic. We do it in the tier list videos. And I wanted to get in front of you with this as well, so you can see some of the cool new stuff here too. So let's go look at the more competitive spot in best of 1. As we get up there, we see a lot of changes. We got Jeskai Creativity, Jeskai Control, Mono Green Elves, Mono Red Aggro. Again, Trickery's in there, but barely above, and then Gruul Shaman. So a lot of percent played. Returns okay, but there's better decks that you could be playing with a higher consistency right now. So we'll go ahead and drill through each one of these, and certainly I do plan to get us a host of new content here. As we have been covering, we still see Selesnya Auras, Mono Red Burn, Goblins in the space. Down here, as we move to gold, we're seeing Burn doing well. We get into Platinum, a little bit more competitive. Again, Mono Green Elves still doing very, very well in the space. We'll keep moving here into Diamond. Diamond, we got Jeskai Control, Rakdos, and Mono Green Elves, and see if there's anything in Mythic. And nope, so not a lot going on here. Still as people try and make it into the space. But like I said, a lot more historic content coming your way, but having a ton of fun with Jumpstart and really enjoy playing that. So next, best of 3. Here's what we got going on. Jeskai Creativity, Jeskai Control, Mono Green Elves, all the things on here. We've heard talk of Tybalt's Trickery. It's still, I begin to see some of the best of 3 decks. I did do a best of 1. Maybe we'll get that board for you for best of 3. If that's what you so choose to play. But here's what we have going on here. And we can look at some of the win rates and progression here over time. Certainly this is going to be moving around, bouncing around. But let's look at what we got going on here at the higher end. Jeskai Creativity, Control, John Food still in there, Resource Control, Is It Phoenix, Rakdos, Gruul Shamans, Squirrel Twin, still in there as well. So that's what we have. No Tybalt's Trickery in that space, but a lot of the best of 1 decks pulling over into best of 3 and vice versa here for the historic format. Now let's go ahead and we'll look and break these down at the competitive space until from less competitive, more competitive, as we always like to do as well. And you can see what's going on in Platinum. Azor's Aura is doing really well there. Grixis Control popping up. We get into Diamond, Jeskai Control, and then Mythic. So certainly a little bit less of what's going on in these, but that is kind of how it goes as well over time. So building up that data, we know we've had some issues here and a lot of stuff moving out of the gate. So want to get you that snapshot. That is historic. So we have covered standard best of 1, best of 3. We've covered standard 2022 and historic here today on the channel. So a lot of these decks you can check out. We have them here on the channel. I'm not going to drill into a specific deck for you this week, but I do want to move forward with some cool tournaments that have definitely impacted things here. So in standard, last weekend we had the 5 colors tournament here, 5 color wheel tournament, and a very, very wide range of decks, but Gruul Adventures taking home, going 10-0 with Mateus Flores here, and a lot of other stuff. We really see the Gruul things popping up or becoming more John Adventures, calling it as well, which it is, and a host of decks and standards. So that is what we have. If we go ahead and we look at more of the percent in the field, we can see Gruul Adventures was pretty high. Win rates were good. You got Sultai Ramp, Dimmer Rogues, Mono Green, Nye Adventures, not everything else doing so much better. Rakdos Sacrifice did pretty good though. So very, very interesting to see that mix and break up there. The other one that I want to call out when we talk about historic, we have our lovely Hooglandia Open Series historic. And here's where things came out. Is It Creativity? So we had Jeskai Creativity there at the top. We got Selesnya Aggro, Selesnya Company, Mono Black Vampires. Again, Is It Creativity? Lots of things. We got Elves, a host of decks here out of the gate. And let's see what we got in terms of percent of the field. So 6 Selesnya Company doing very well at 65% wins. Which is very, very healthy. Is It Creativity doing very, very healthy in terms of one of our very first tournaments here for historic right out of the gate. So a lot of things going on. Things that we're going to look forward to. Boom, these guys right here, gauntlets going on this weekend. We got our deck lists already out there and posted, so we'll keep an eye on those things and see how it unravels here for us over the course of the weekend. So with that, we're back to it here. Let's flip to our lovely standard and best of 1 as always to kind of close out. So Planeswalkers, welcome as always for Friday Night Meta, one of my favorite things to do in the weekly series. Changed a few things up here today. Let me know what you think down below. Love to hear from you. Saved up on the no necessarily retrospective to kick it off and cut out the deck and the article just because not a lot of time here to write all that stuff up, unfortunately, but we'll get back to it here as things progress and life moves forward as always. So thank you as always, Planeswalkers. Like I said, we covered off on standard best of 1, best of 3. We did standard 2022 and historic best of 1, best of 3. Want to get you those flavors and love to hear from you. Like I said, feel free to hop on the Discord server. It's available to you in the description, along with a lot of great information to stay connected, support the channel. And hope to see you again soon. And for next week, we got a lot more things coming your way. So stay in touch. We got standard top decks, standard 2022 top decks, historic top decks. We will be getting into Jank. It's on my list, I promise. And then getting another tournament moving here for September for the multiverse, if you're interested on those. And then on top of that, Friday Night Meta, as we like to do it, and tier list, my friends. So you stay safe, you take care. We'll see you again soon. Until next time, Mythras out.